Practice question, Hardy, number 3, page 6. So I'll get right to the question. It says 85% of the population in Alberta is Rh positive. Now again, this is a dominant trait. So when it's a dominant trait, they're not giving you anything else here. So we have to kind of work with this. Now I know we said we don't use these in these calculations, but you're going to use this 85% to derive what the recessive is, right? The Rh negative. And again, because Rh positive is dominant, we don't know if these guys are p squared guys, homodom, or if they're 2pq. So we can't really use that 85% only in the way that we're going to derive the recessive trait, Rh negative. So there's only 100% in a population, minus that by 85%, and we come up with 15% that's going to be q squared. And what we mean by q squared is Rh negative, Rh negative. You must have both those alleles before you can be Rh negative. So again, it's going to be q squared. Biggest mistake people do is they use the 85% or they just think that the 15% they just calculated is q. And again, if it is a trait, if it's a disorder, if it's a disease, you must use the recessive, but you always know that you're using 2q. So q squared is the value that you determine. First step in that is to take that and put that q squared into a decimal. So you can move that over 2 times or again, divide by 100. So we end up with 0.15, and you must know that this is q squared. Once we do that, you're going to see that these steps are generally the same all the time. So the process is always the same. So if I want to just find q, I'm going to square root 0.15. And q, when I do that, comes out to 0.3873. And I always like to keep at least 4. You don't round off in the middle of a question, but I like to at least keep 4 of those decimal places. Once I have q value, then I just go find my p value by doing the 1 minus q, which is the we already determined to be 0.3873. P then equals 0.6127. And what they want here is the frequency. What is the percent? So they want their answer in percent of the homozygous DOM. So what would you expect that to be? Homozygous DOM, the only part of the formula that determines homozygous DOM is p squared. That's the homo part, right? The homozygous DOM part are variables within that equation. So we're just going to take that, multiply it by itself, and p squared will then equal 0.3754. We want percentage because that's what they want their answer in. We're going to multiply that by 100 or move it over 2 spots. And when we do that, you can see they want whole percentage as well. So they don't want any decimals. So we're going to see that we'll take a look at this 5, and because it's higher, we're going to jack that up to p squared equals 38%. And that's our answer. Thanks, guys.